What makes it so special? What keeps The Land Before Time, I guess, growing and alive?
I guess I will try to answer this. So what do I think keeps this going and keeps it alive? Well, it's very wholesome. It's not wholesome. It's not wholesome at all. No, it's just a really great story that we can all relate. They talk about serious issues, passing away, in ways that kids can watch and enjoy. I don't know, what do you think, Andy?
I think it's the songs that you can never stop singing. That's what I think.
What about you?
I just think it's the great relationship between all of the characters and, the fact that the people who, during that generation, they've taken it with them and it grew and kept going, and it was one of those, first sequential kind of movie situations where you could just keep following it as you grow up. And I have lots of friends now who are introducing their kids to the film. So.
I was going to say all that, by the way.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just vote here. So why do you think your character's your favorite? Or why do you like your character more than everybody else's?
Sorry, I'm having microphone stuff. I love playing Cera, and I don't know if I think she's the best, but she's certainly the best to play because she treats Littlefoot like a brother. I have a brother. She's a little snarky. She's a little bit bossy, but it's so fun. So that's why it's my favorite character.
Just a little bossy.
And just a little bit. I don't know. I just, to me, she's such a fun character to play because I just get to get out all of that aggression. I'm not really like that at all in real life. So I get to act. And I just love that character so much.
I'd like to comment on the aggression and anger. No, I'm not going to mess with that. So I really enjoyed playing Littlefoot because he's just such a... Out of all the characters, yeah, he's very endearing. He's nice. He cares so much about his friends. He's always trying to help. And he was a blast to play because, unlike my sister, that's how I am in real life. All right.
Well, I love all the characters. I'm the most like my character, I think. I'm Ducky, of course, as you know now. I love Ducky because she's she's positive. She just makes people, she's happy. She's willing to be a part of the gang and help however she can. And I think they're all a big family. And she has her adopted brother, Spike, who she loves unconditionally, even though he can't speak. And she's fun. And she's in my heart. I love her. So, but I love all the characters too. I can't really pick a favorite. I'm just lucky and happy that I got to do Ducky.
There we go. All right. So we've talked about, said some of your favorite lines here, or you mentioned some of your voices here. What's some of the lines that stick out in the movie to you all, whether it's your character or somebody else's? Maybe what favorite scene that you had or your favorite line that you may have recorded.
All right, so I'm thinking about this, and my favorite line, because this represents Littlefoot the most, is whenever he would say, Cera, Ducky, Petrie, Spike, because he knew he was about to go on an adventure with his friends.
Wow. After 14 movies, I'm trying to think of my favorite line. I always had this, when people ask me to do her voice, I always do something like, 3 horns are better than long necks. I like any of the lines where she gets to kind of growl down here. It's my favorite thing to do with her. But I think one of my favorite scenes, I think one of my favorite scenes was from the 14th movie where Cera, I don't know if she's in the cave and she's floating down the water and she's so relaxed, and it never happens with Cera. So she's just like, oh, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And I think that's one of my favorite scenes because it was just so opposite of her character.
Oh, that was fun. It's fun. It is hard to think back through all of the different storylines. And I love every movie where we get to run from something or all the screaming, all that stuff is always really fun to film. But I love the moment right before the song Always There where Ducky's comforting Littlefoot, I think, and talking about, I don't remember the exact line, but she she's getting settled and they're going to sleep, and she just says something very sweet, and it's like a little meaningful moment. But the lines that I tend to like remember and say for people are, "You are a big sharp tooth, all right. Yep, yep, yep. And I do not like swarming leaf gobblers. Oh, no, no, no." So there you go.
Very good. So, Aria, I don't mean to cut you out of this next question, but we have to focus on these two for a little bit. If nobody's seen YouTube videos and the interaction between Andy and Scott, it's something. It's very interesting. It seems like is it a sibling rivalry? Is it just a friendly contest? Is one of you actually better than the other one?
There's nothing friendly about it. So, if you don't know, in real life, this is my older sister, so we are related. And on the very first day, I was brought home from the hospital when I was born. My sister came up to me and whacked me on the head. And it's been like that ever since. Not much has changed. So yeah, we've had a rivalry ever since I was born. What do you think about? I don't know I'm afraid to give her the microphone.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, we both grew up in the business. We're from LA, we're born and raised there. And if you were born and raised in LA in the 80s, chances are you were an actor. It was just a small industry. And so we've been able to do projects together. And The Land Before Time is interesting because my brother was in 2, 3, and 4, and I wasn't. And then his voice changed, and he got too old to play Littlefoot. And then I took over for 5 through 14. So we missed each other on The Land Before Time. But yeah, we're a day apart in birthdays. So I don't know if you have siblings, but you can't be that close in birthdays. So we did a show called Bump in the Night together. That was an animatronic show, stop motion. It was stop motion. It was really cool. We did Recess. He was in Recess with Disney, but I don't think I was there when you recorded. We did an on-camera show. It was a mid-season replacement for ABC called Home Free, which was the show that Matt Perry was in right before Friends. And if he had stayed on our show, if it gotten picked up, he never would have been in Friends. So that's pretty interesting. But we've gotten to do a lot of video games together and stuff like that. So that's where the rivalry comes from, just constantly being back and forth throughout our whole lives with our birthdays and our projects. And I'm obviously better.
And for all the little brothers in the room, come see me afterwards. I've got some good tricks and tips for you.
Since I kind of gave them both the spotlight just for a second, I want to point out something with Aria, just to be fair. You recently got married.
Yay!
Congratulations.
August 8th. Thank you so much. Very excited. Oh, I just hit myself on the dork. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy.
All right, so we do have one question from the audience up here. I'm going to give him a moment, and then we'll take a couple more here shortly.
Hi there. This is for all you guys. When you are approaching a new character as voice actors, what are the factors that you look at when you're coming up with the voice of the character? Physicality, personality, what do you look at really, and how much is like overridden by directors?
Well, I'm going to briefly answer this because these two are much more involved in that now. But whenever I approached a character, it would always help if I had the animation to look at, and that would give me an idea of the voice. And like when I did Willie Watt for Batman Beyond, being able to see him and get a description of him, I would think of people in my past who may have met that criteria. Willie Watt was kind of a bullied, kind of nerd guy, and I knew a lot of people like that, including myself. So I would draw upon past experiences, past people I knew, but I'm going to hand it off to these two.
Yeah. So a lot has changed in the animation industry, and these days it's very difficult to create characters because we don't get a lot of information. We get like 3 random lines and we have no idea. Most of us audition, and we have everybody's so secretive about projects now that they don't send a lot of information. So you're kind of out there in the dark, and we don't see people anymore. So I don't show up to Nickelodeon for an audition anymore. I just get it at home, I record it in my home studio, and my agent sends it on my behalf. So I'm out there in the dark by myself, just trying to give this character a story. So I give these characters voices not knowing what's going on in the heads of the creators and the casting directors. So it's really a different world now. A lot of animation people are lucky enough that they get offered roles and they get all that information so they can approach it a completely different way than people who are still auditioning and doing that kind of stuff. So it's a whole different world now.
Do they ever give you feedback?
And that's the other thing is you hear nothing. As an actor, you get no feedback unless you get the job. Nobody calls you and says, well, you were pretty good, but not that great. Like, nobody says you almost got the role. You never hear anything except for yes. And all the rest of the time, you just assume it's a no. So like I said, it's very isolating. Technology has really changed the entire industry.
So great answers. Growing up in the business, it came kind of organically. First it was about learning the lines, and then, when you're a kid, the director can work with you because they're willing to bring stuff out of you. But as you grow up, you kind of learn your own little ways about how to do things. And sometimes you're stuck in a particular niche. You have a quirky voice like I kind of do, or sometimes people are like masters of illusion with their voices and they can do everything. So when we were younger, we would often get like a picture of the character, a description, like we would have something to go on. And basically it's your own interpretation. If that kid's like tough, or if it's an adult or kid or whatever it is, if they're tough, fast talking, like streetwise, or if they're really innocent and naive, like you just kind of honestly embody that. Like just imagine that kind of person and what would come out of you or what would come from them. And you can kind of put yourself in those shoes. And there's a really actually interesting video on YouTube for anybody interested in voiceover. And it's like titled something like How to Create Hundreds of Voices. And he goes through all of the different aspects of a voice, like the breathiness and the pitch and the speed and the intensity and all the different elements that there can be. And I just think for anybody interested, like check that out because it's very informative and enlightening.
Actually, I want to add something to that as well. This is something we were talking about earlier. There's a difference when you are voice acting as a kid and then you move into the adult voice acting work. That's what happened to me. So when you're voice acting as a kid, it's all about just saying the line correctly, like you were talking about, having any type of emotion, because it's hard. Yeah, natural voice when you're working with little kids. But when you get to a point like me, so they called me up for Land Before Time 5. Every Land Before Time they'd call me up. Land Before Time 3. Hey, how you doing? They want to hear my voice. I can still do it. Land Before Time 4. I can still do it. Land Before Time 5. I can still do it. Not going to happen. So once I moved into the adult world, I was no longer competing or working with a small group of kids and an even smaller group of kids who could perform. Now I was competing against Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh and everything. And it's a much larger talent pool. So there's that to consider as well. Your natural talent when you're a kid kind of falls away to more of what you do, and that's crafting a character when you're an adult.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. So for Cera, there was already a Cera, so that's considered more voice matching. So when I went into audition for Cera, I had to kind of get into Candace Hudson's voice. Because she was way more, she's up here and she has a different way of saying things. But I had to infuse my own interpretation of that because it's a character. I can't just copy her. There's no life to it. So my Cera was just a little bit more down here and I like to growl things. So I just added that little touch to it. So voice matching is a little different, but it's also very physical. So for Cera, I kind of get that scowl on my face, just like she has. But if I'm doing a sweeter character like Phoebe from Hey Arnold, I'll kind of get more curled up like this. So it's very physical. I didn't think about that until Aria was talking about that. But it's hard to think of it because I just do it naturally. But like trying to break it down and think about the steps is a little harder because it just happens naturally when you do it for so long. I have a new character coming up that I'm recording this week for a different show, and it's a whole different experience. But it's just it's very physical.
I'm sorry to. Okay. One thing that I found interesting is there used to be a lot of like stereotypes, like the nerd was always like this thing, and like the popular kid was always cool. But a lot of people find it interesting to go against type nowadays too. So really, it's as big as your imagination. Like you could have this character that has this certain description, but you bring something unique and different, and you stand out to the people who are listening. So you really never know. Just go for it. Try things. Have fun at home, and go for it.
We hope you like our brief answer.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. If everyone can exit the convention. All right, he did have a follow-up question, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I mean, that was a really good conversation we had there.
So you mentioned you get, 3 lines, and you're in isolation. How many different, portrayals of that character do you put out?
That's a good question because that happens a lot more for interactive. So there's a difference between interactive acting and animation. So traditional animation is much bigger. Think of The Simpsons or something like that. They're all these, characters that have like, big voices and stuff like that. But for interactive, the style is very cinematic. It's very real on camera. And usually that's the stuff I don't get any description of. I'll get something like, she's a soldier and she's tough. Okay, well, or she's a mom. Okay, well, like moms are half of the, population. Like what? But, so for interactive is very secretive. In fact, when you record an interactive, when you book the job, you don't get a script. You show up to the studio, they have one script, and everybody shares it at the studio. They're that secretive. Wait, what was the question again? Sorry, I got off on a tangent. Oh, gotcha. So usually, I can't imagine a casting director listening to more than one. You've got 800 auditions you got to get through, and you got to get your best take on that first time. You can do a take 2 if you've got another idea for the character, but you better put your best take in that first. I don't think anybody sends more than 2 takes of an audition, and even that's a lot, I think, unless it's like a really big character that they're really searching hard for. But for like most guest stars, just 1 take.
Do you guys experiment with those when you're trying to create voices? Do you do them in front of people and get their opinions, or is it more, I feel this is right and this is what I'm rolling with?
Good to me in my bones.
Well, one of the last interviews I did, it was for some sort of game, and they wanted me to do a Russian accent. And so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, is this supposed to be like exaggerated, like, yes, welcome to the submarine, like something like that? Or is it supposed to be like realistic, like, do svidanya, like something like that? I did the super comical one. I never heard back. So I guess I made the wrong choice.
That's interesting. So we're talking about like how to make the choice when you have like a few lines, and how that, man, if I had the answer to that, I would probably be working every day. But no, it's really nuanced, and it does, like you said, it has to feel good to you, and it has to be something sustainable. Like you don't want to be like destroying your voice. Like obviously that's fairly obvious, but it's kind of an instinct after some time. And for me, I love doing this. I could do 100 takes, and I could listen and analyze. So sometimes you just have to like let it go and be like, okay, this feels good. Do a couple warm-ups. Make sure it's not like your first one. And then, just trust that they'll hear through and hear what they need,
That's the problem with, the way that the industry is now is you don't hear anything. So like I said, if you make this choice for a character, nobody tells you, oh, it was pretty good, but you could work on this and make it really great. Nobody tells you that. I mean, I guess if you get training, somebody will give you that feedback. But at the end of the day, the only person you want that feedback from is the casting director and the audience. So that's why it has to feel right to me. And then I know that I did the best that I possibly could. And the character made me happy, so at least that's something. But that's how it is now.
All right, awesome. So before you got here, there was a couple people talking, and I don't think we can have them leave without some songage. So I would leave this up to you as maybe your favorite song that you did, your favorite tune of somebody else. If you think Land Before Time, this is the song I think of. Maybe something like that.
Well,
together.
We
What song do
can.
you
But one of my favorite song is not one that I actually sang. It's from the movie. It's If We Hold On Together. That's a beautiful song. That's a great one. That's right. I think we should sing it again, guys. What do you think?
I want to sing with the audience. Like, what song?
Yeah, what do you want to hear?
Friends for Dinner, Big Big Water.
Well, it has to be one that I know. I'll give you a little bit, all right? Oh,
Who needs you?
Wait, are we in that?
I don't know that one. Who Needs You? Give us a few lines there.
I need you like a hole in the head, and I need you like a bug in the bed.
Isn't that? What characters sing that?
Doing it good.
That's from his movie. Oh my god. Oh, Alex. Come on.
I love it. I don't remember it, though. I remember when you're big, you can do any little thing you want. Of course, that's not the right word. Why don't I sing the one that I know? Come on.
I want to sing Friends for Dinner because Aria and I know that one sort of.
I'll just sing a few bars then for my favorite, and then you guys can do your thing. If we hold on together, you know our dreams will never die. Dreams on us through to forever, and times go by. Of course I know it. You and I. My favorite song. All right.
That's it. I think that's pretty good.
I wanted to say, because I mentioned the song Always There and how that little moment before was like really sweet. So that was like one of my favorites. You guys remember that one? Like, I remember now, like it was yesterday. She would hold me close, and then I'd hear her say, you know I'll never leave you. You can find me anywhere. In the morning light, the evening star, I'm always there. And I don't think that was actually my voice. That wasn't my verse. That was Littlefoot.
Beautiful.
Oh crap, I don't remember. I have a worse memory, so.
It was like a mad song. Yeah, your mad song.
When your tummy feels all sticky and hot, you know, and you're filled with bubbly goo, and those fuzzy wuzzy things inside your head make you sad and blue. Don't go around pretending that there's nothing wrong with you. Wow, I haven't sang it so long. When you feel those ickly, prickly things, do what the three horns do.
What do you do?
We get mama mad!
That brings back memories from my childhood.
Sorry, there's so many ickly, sticklies and stuff like that, I can't always remember them.
I can't remember what I did yesterday, so the fact that you can still do that, I'm impressed. So we can have time for maybe one, maybe two questions. Did anybody have a question? All right, so we're going to go with your two questions, and then we'll call it a panel after that. How's that sound?
Perfect.
All right. So why don't you go ahead, buddy?
So, what is a long question that's great.
No problem.
What is your religious in the film and in real life? And what happens to the voice actor? I only saw her in one episode, and then before time your girlfriend in the film.
Oh, Allie?
Yeah, what happened to her?
Well,
So the question is, we were asking about Allie.
yes. First, yeah, thank you for bringing up a painful moment. I'm just teasing. Let's just say that Allie saw Littlefoot chatting it up with another dinosaur, was not happy, and no, I'm just teasing. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't think she appeared in anything else.
Did she make a comeback?
One TV episode?
So, yeah.
I thought she was a great character. You know what I think in real life? I think she just looked too similar to Littlefoot, right? Oh, that's so sweet. I have an Allie stuffed animal that for years I thought was Littlefoot, but a fan, it might have been you, corrected me and said, no, that's Allie. So I know people like her. I just don't know why. I don't know why she didn't show up. That's a great question.
Man, we never know. It's the studios. Studio executives make these decisions. We get told nothing. You never know with Universal. They pop out of nowhere with projects all the time.
That'll be the reboot, is the children.
Who knows?
Go ahead, sir.
Of course, now I can play the grandfather.
Okay, I have a few questions, if I may. So I know that you guys probably have a really close bond with like Jeff and Rob all these years. Although I know sadly Andy didn't get to record lines with anyone in Journey of the Brave. Yeah, but I'm wondering, are there any particularly great memories you have of like working with some of the actors that have like come and gone, like say a new voice of Littlefoot, or like in Scott's case, like a guest actor like Julianne Hanson, voice of Allie, or Whitney Hertford, voice of Pip? Are there any particularly great memories you have?
That's a good question, and I don't mean to disappoint, but really the best memories I do have are working with Jeff and Jim Cummings and Rob Paulson. And I'll share one story that happened recently. I was at the Hill Country Comic Con a while back, and I ran into Jim Cummings, who was there, and Greg Berger. Now, Jim Cummings, of course, plays Winnie the Pooh and every other character in the world, and Greg Berger played Eeyore. Yeah, and Grimlock, yeah, and right, and I was Christopher Robin in the mid '90s, and these guys hadn't seen me, so that was my Eeyore and my Winnie the Pooh, and also Land Before Time alumni as well, and they hadn't seen me in like 15 or 20 years, and I got to hang out with those two guys in Texas, and that's one of my fondest memories, even though it happened recently. I just remember working with really awesome people, Jeff Bennett and Rob Paulson in particular, who were just so kind and just amazingly talented and awesome to work with as a little kid. It's not easy to work with little kids when you're an adult, and they were just fantastic. They are genuinely wonderful people, and that's what I remember most.
So Jeff and Rob have a habit of saying adult things in their character voices. So as I got older in the Land Before Time franchise, I started to understand their jokes better. So it's very difficult to keep a straight face when they infuse adult humor into your session right when you're about to record. So that's a little bit of a problem. But no, we just have such a good time in the studio. It's wonderful to be able to record with people. I didn't get to record with anyone for the last movie. It's just me by myself, but you did.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked or why that worked out the way it did, but just like both of you, I have so many memories spanning, 20, I was 8 when I started, so 25 years of my life. Not every year. We skipped some of the years, but it's such an interesting, interwoven industry. The people who have guested, like Michael Clark Duncan, Cameron Manheim, Bernadette Peters, Nancy Cartwright, Bart Simpson. What did she do? Oh, that's right, Dina, no. Yeah. Okay, so the people who have ended up on the show, I've been starstruck by, just continuously, and it's cool when we actually get to work with them, which sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes a celebrity guest will just be, by themselves, but they've always been consistently very nice. Chris Christopherson, who a lot of people in my mom's generation know, I actually did a play with his daughter years after he was Littlefoot's dad, I believe, or he was the lone dinosaur. Yeah, in the movie. I know, thank you. But even just the little things, I remember, when we were kids, we had to do 3 hours of school still during the recording sessions, and I remember like playing with Thomas Dekker, like running around and playing hide and go seek in the studio. He was like Littlefoot 5 through 9 or one of them. And I remember like meeting other people who were also at the same studio. We were at Salami Studios. It's a very popular place in Burbank, North Hollywood. And I met Mark Hamill there. He was just sitting on the couch, and it was like, oh my gosh, what the heck, Mel Brooks. I don't know if you, I hope you guys know who Mel Brooks is. I met him just at the same studio while we were working on that project, but they were coming and going with other projects. So it's been, and Ed Asner, who just passed away. I remember meeting him on our, like, at one of the first years of, and he was there for some other job, and I asked him if he was there for an audition, and he kind of laughed at me. It was very sweet, but it was like, oh, you're cute, you know? So anyways, that's a long story, short, long answer. Lots of wonderful memories. I'm very blessed. Here you go.
All right, so we have the gentleman here in the back, and then we'll wrap up here. Can you walk up here just a little bit here?
Yeah, sorry, it's really hard to hear you. Come on up. We don't bite.
Here, buddy.
Only Chomper bites.
Hey, well, I'll even give you the mic here, okay?
How can you tell from the Jurassic Park T-Rex from the Lampropore Time T-Rex?
Oh boy. Well, the Jurassic Park T-Rex, pretty scary. The Land Before Time T-Rex gave us Chomper, right? That's one of my favorite characters, Chomper. I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. All right, Aria?
Well, the ones, the Land Before Time ones have red eyes, don't they? First of all, and then the Jurassic Park ones are a lot slimier and drippier and scarier.
And also, in ours, Jeff Goldblum never got eaten. In Jurassic Park, he did. So there's another difference.
Fair enough.
There we go. Thank you for the question.
All right.
Oh, well, that's true. That's right. It was the lawyer that got eaten. Well, Jeff Goldblum's leg got messed up. That's where
Right. All right, so we had a couple of VIPs. If you stay here, we'll get your pictures done before you exit.
Thanks, everyone.
Hi, this is Michael Shanks, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The fate of the universe may depend on it. And have fun and follow your fandom.